All right, Gets. Here's the Chaos Knights. As whelmed as I was with the Imperial Knights detachment, I actually think I really like the Chaos Knights detachment. And now remember that Imperial Knights new detachment actually isn't bad. There's some spicy stuff in there, and I think as we develop, we're gonna find some really interesting combos for it. But now we're talking about Chaos Knights with the Iconoclast Fiefdom. This thing's pretty sick. I think we have some really cool combinations in here, and I'm pretty pumped up to basically just start breaking it down for everybody. So first off, before we start anything, just remember the army rule specifically for the Chaos Knights is battle round on 1 and onwards while an enemy unit is within 12 inches of this model. Each time an enemy takes a battle shock or leadership, subtract -1. And then from the third battle round onwards, every time this model makes an attack, if the target is battle shocked, you get to add 1 to the wound roll, and they are going to be -1 to be hit from battle shocked units. So that actually stays, which is pretty dang reasonable. So I don't mind it. I think it's a pretty freaking good army rule. A lot of people complain about it, but I think it's good. And it's going to stack fairly well with all the rules that we have in this new detachment. So let's break it down. We have the Dreaded Masters. Titanic Chaos Knights have the following ability. While a friendly damned unit, once again, this is actually similar to the Imperial Knights detachment, where you get to take allies now. When a damned unit is within 9 inches of this model, every time a model in said unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. So right off the bat, you can know that it's thinking about damned units, which are going to be your more or less just your freaking cultist and your accursed cultist. All right, accursed cultists like that. Normal cultists don't care. Chaos Knights units from your army have the following abilities. So this is all Chaos Knights, not just the Titanic Knights following. Dark Sacrifice. Each time a Chaos Knights unit with this ability is selected to shoot or fight, it can make a Dark Sacrifice. If it does, select one damned unit within 6 inches. That damned unit must take a leadership test. If passed, destroy D3 models in said damned unit. If failed, destroy D3 plus 3 models in that damned unit. In either case, then select one of the following abilities for your Chaos Knights. Weapons to have until the end of the phase: lethal or sustained hits. I think I like brigands with sustained hits. I think I like it a lot. I think I like Knight Despoilers with sustained hits. I think I like that a lot. There's a lot of different units in this army that's going to enjoy this rule, especially when you consider the fact that you're basically just going to start with 6 units of cultist in your army, and now suddenly you have all the action monkeys you need, and you have sticky on every objective you touch. It doesn't look too bad. So you can get up to 500 points of damned units in the army. All right, let's talk about some of these enhancements. These enhancements will be used. Not every single one is amazing, but they will be freaking used. So the first one is the Profane Altar. Chaos Knights model only. Each time the bearer makes a dark sacrifice, you have to kill the maximum number of damned units that could be killed. So if the leadership is passed, it's 3, or if it's failed, it's going to be 6, flat 6. But until the end of the phase, you get both lethal and sustained hits on your weapons, which is quite useful. Then we have Pave the Way for 15 points. Chaos Knights model only. At the start of the Declare Battle Formation step, you get to select 3 damned units from your ability, and they all have Scout 6. This rocks. Scouting Cultist is awesome. It is a freaking great way to get them to be able to get your Arid Nile turn 1, be able to get you whatever cleanse actions you want to do turn 1. It's just a really strong ability that will actually shore up a lot of the problems that Chaos Knights currently have. Then we have the cheapest freaking enhancement in the game. I think it's tied for the Panopta specs in Custodes. Tyrant's Banner for 5 points. Chaos Knights model only. Each time the bearer makes a dark sacrifice, select one visible damned unit to take a leadership test instead of a damned unit within 6. This is useful, especially if you're running into scenarios where maybe you're just like out of range. If you have 5 points, you'll take it. So I don't think it's super necessary, but it's useful. Then we have lastly the Diabolical Resilience, which is going to be the last enhancement for this detachment. Chaos Knights model only. The bearer has a Field of Pain of 6 up. This rocks. This is really strong. A 6 up Field of Pain is amazing. You can then ignore any or all modifiers to its move characteristic and any advance or charge rolls made for it. The last part of it isn't really that big a deal. I think this is a little expensive, but simply because most of the modifiers really only apply to infantry in this game, but there are some movement modifiers that apply to vehicles as well, especially like charge modifiers for different strats and things. But the Field of Pain of 6 up on a big knight is a very big deal. That is a huge increase in survivability. So let's talk about some of these strats. I think these strats are generally quite good. And let's break them down. We have Avenge the Masters, which is going to be in any phase. You're going to target one Chaos Knights unit from your army that was just destroyed. You can use this stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. And until the end of the battle, the enemy unit that destroyed your unit is marked. Each time a damned model from your army makes an attack that targets the marked unit, they have lethal hits. This is really good if you're taking a Cursed Cultist. I don't know if you're going to take a Cursed Cultist, but if you do take a Cursed Cultist, this is really good. Then we have the Unrestrained Rage, which is in your movement phase just after a Chaos Knights unit advances or falls back. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. This freaking rocks. Think about your Knight Rampager who can now fall back and recharge to reproc his free sustained hits. This is a beast, especially if that Knight Rampager happens to, have a 6 of Feel No Pain and do some other things. So I love this stratagem. It's very, very strong for Chaos Knights. Then we look at the Wretched Masses stratagem. This is 2 CP. One damned unit from your army that was just destroyed, excluding a Cursed Cultist. That's really sad. If this was on a Cursed Cultist, I think this would be freaking awesome. On just normal Cultist, it is what it is. Basically, you get a new unit once they die. You get to resurrect them, and it's used once per game. It's 2 CP. I mean, I can see a scenario where actually being able to resurrect a 10-man unit of cultists and put them in your opponent's backline can be quite useful. It does open up some secret missions and a couple other things as well. If it was a Cursed Cultist, I would think it was actually awesome. Just normal Cultist, I think it's whatever. Maybe once every 15 games you'll use it and it will matter. Then we have the Worthless Chattel stratagem. This is going to be in your shooting phase. You're going to target one damned unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, enemy units are not considered to be within engagement range of your unit for the purposes of selecting targets of the ranged weapons. Now, until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model is going to lose a wound, while that model is within engagement range of your unit, roll a d6 and on a 4-up, one model, whatever. Basically what this means is that you can shoot units that are in engagement range of your own models. A lot of people might not super see the purpose of this, but what it will allow you to do is it's going to allow you to say, let's say you have a unit of, I don't know, Castellan Breachers, or Breachers from Admech, and they have really good anti-vehicle weapons, and they get to re-roll hit rolls, so their Overwatch can be very, very devastating for a big vehicle. Well, you can keep them engaged with a unit of Cultist, meaning once you move up, they can't Overwatch you, and then you can just shoot them anyway. So there are actual uses for the stratagem. I think it's not necessarily the easiest stratagem to use, but it can be very game-changing when it does come up. So I think it's a good stratagem, and I think people are going to find good uses for it. Then we have the Soul Hunger. And I love the Soul Hunger stratagem. It's very similar to one of the stratagems from the other detachment, which I really, really like as well. When your fight phase, or the fight phase, not your fight phase, the fight phase, just after a Chaos Knights unit from your army has fought. If one or more models were destroyed as a result of those attacks, your unit regains D3 lost wounds. So just straight up 1 CP, heal D3. That's awesome on a big knight, specifically like a Rampager, who might also have a 6-up Feel No Pain. Your unit will regain up to D3 lost wounds. However, if one or more models from a Battle Shocked unit were destroyed, you get to heal D3 plus 2. And with Chaos Knight's abilities to make people just Battle Shocked in general, this is actually an excellent stratagem. It's really, really wanting you to lean into those melee knights, though, I think. Just because I think this detachment really, really likes the melee knights. It's also kind of good for the shooting knights, because you get the sustained and the lethals. This is a really interesting detachment. Right off the bat, I'm going to say this is almost as good as the current detachment. With some changes in a codex or with a balance status slate, this might become significantly better than the current detachment. I know we're going to be dropping Knights of Shade, which allow you to put 2 miniature knights through walls and stuff, but your big knights can already move through walls, and this detachment likes the big knights a lot more. And lastly, we're going to have one more stratagem. This is going to be Preserve the Idols. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move. You're going to target one Chaos Knights unit from your army that is within 9 inches of the enemy unit. You're going to select one damn unit from your army that is not Battle Shocked and not within engagement range of one or more enemy units and is within 6 inches of your unit. Gosh, that's a mouthful. That damned unit can make a normal move of up to 6 inches, but it must end this move closer to the enemy unit before it started. Yeah, interesting. It's really interestingly worded. So it's like your damned unit has to be within 6 of the Chaos Knights unit. Oh, wait. All right, I get it. Sorry, it was a wordful. It took me a second to grasp it. This is actually really, really nice. Your Chaos Knights unit is going to have to end Whenever your opponent does their movement and they end within 9 inches of your Chaos Knights unit, then you get to do a 6-inch movement with the damned unit. And they do have to move closer to the enemy unit that moved, but that doesn't mean they have to be within 9 inches of the enemy unit. They could be 15, 16, 17 inches away and then say move on to an objective to deny an area denial or do whatever. This is actually a very good stratagem. Sorry, it took me a second to read and really grasp it, but I think it kind of rocks. Let me just do it one more time in case I confuse anyone with it. All right, so we have big Chaos Knight. The enemy moves within 9 inches of your big Chaos Knight. Then you have another damned unit that is within 6 inches of the Chaos Knight. They can be all the way on the other side. I don't know if you guys can see my hand. They can be on the other side of the Chaos Knight. Enemy unit up here, damned unit over here. These guys now get to do a 6-inch movement that has to end closer to the enemy unit. This can be used to steal objectives. This can be used to deny secondaries. There's a really interesting, they can be used to screen. This is actually a really interesting stratagem. So I think this detachment is actually really good. I like it a lot. I think it's going to require a little bit of practice. The list building is going to be a little bit different because you're not going to run 13 baby knights anymore. I think you really want to lean into bigger knights in this detachment. And I'm pretty excited to see what we build out of it. I might be playing a game tonight with the new IK versus the new CK. I think the new CK is better than the new IK, but man, I got to be real with you. The new Imperial Knights, if you're running, 40 to 50 AdMag Vanguards, that's kind of a game changer too. So we'll find out how it goes. Overall, guys, I think both of these attachments are interesting and they give you clearly different ways to build the armies, and they're not bad. That's the most important part. They're actually, there's something I can see for it. I'm not sold on them being like competitive, but man, there's some good stuff to cook with here, and I'm excited to see what people come up with. So until next time, I will be back. This is Happy Crumpin', and I hope you all crump on and you come up with some brilliant lists of your own. Post them down below if you get them. All right, bye-bye.